it's not safe to buy these on the secondary market anymore. What's up, sneaker people? It's your boy FB Kicks and Gear, and welcome to today's video. And just like my opener said, it is no longer safe to buy the Jordan 11 Gratitudes on the secondary market anymore. But before I get into the nitty gritty and the details, remember we are on Discord right now, so Saturday Morning Losers Club, head to the link in the description so that you can join. I'm going to be talking even more in depth about these shoes in the Discord because we are on uncharted territory. As somebody who has been doing these legit check guides for 3-4 years now, we are not in a safe space anymore. So please join in on the extra discussion on the Discord because there will be more discussion. But along with that, remember that you can go to the Instagram account on the screen right here so that you can see more pictures of this shoe. And to be honest, I don't think it's going to help because I cannot tell these shoes apart. I have tossed and turned these shoes every which way, and I can no longer tell these apart at all. And the only way that I can tell them apart right now is because I tied up these laces all the way up to the top so that it would be very easy for me to tell them apart. I'm not bullshitting with you guys, right? This is the closest to one-to-one that I've ever seen. I'm sure that an argument can be made where if you cut the shoes apart and you look at all the internals and things like that, you might be able to find some differences, but I'm talking straight up right next to each other, putting them side by side. These are, I'm gonna say it, these are one-to-one, and for some people they're rejoicing and they're saying that's a good thing. For me personally, as a collector of shoes and somebody who doesn't hate replicas or anything like that, but as a genuine collector of shoes, this is not good. This is not good at all. Now, there is a little silver lining here. There are a little bit of things that you can check when it comes to comparing the boxes that you'll be able to tell them apart. But when it comes to the shoes, we are in trouble, guys. We are in trouble. And thankfully, most shoes are not replicated to this extent. So this is not something you'll have to worry about with every single shoe. But with these, unless I find something that's super glaring while I'm handling these shoes in the course of this video, I'm going to tell you guys that do not buy these on the secondary market, point blank period. So with that said, let's just dig into the boxes real quick and then we'll get into the shoes. So here we have the boxes, and overall, I would say that they're very, 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 very close. The one thing that I noticed immediately that allowed me to, or I should say the two things that I noticed immediately that allowed me to differentiate them when I saw them side by side, focus on the front here. And it has to do with this little air hole ring here. And of course, the size tags. When you compare the air holes, the gold coating is just different. This almost looks like it was spray painted. The metal that's used looks like it has a texture, a finish that the Authentic doesn't, and it's just a lot smoother. One thing that I can notice immediately as well is that the gold on the Authentic is definitely more of a red copper looking gold, while on the rep box, the gold is more of a yellow, bright, shiny gold. But you can see just by moving the boxes and everything that there's a texture to the rep that the Authentic does not have. So there's a saving grace there. And as I always like to point to the size tags because they are always a very, very good legit checking tool. When you look at the size tags, you can see that not only is there a slight difference in the shade of black that's used on the background of the size tag, you can see that there's a font difference as well. Pay attention to the UK 10 here and the UK 10 here on the Authentic pair. The Authentic definitely has thinner, smaller, lighter weight text, while the rep has bolder text. And that's kind of consistent throughout. It's hard to see, but if you have a box of this style with the same size and you have a pair of suspect Jordan 11s, just compare the box labels and you'll be able to see font differences. But from there, it just gets hard to tell because the rep box looks like a beat up Authentic box. I have Authentic boxes that look like this. They sit in my closet. I pull them out and they get dusty and they get beat up. And you can see that even the Authentic box is starting to get beat up too. And this is straight from Shoe Palace. So the boxes are tough. I can say that there is a little bit of a color difference between them in terms of sheen and shade, but not really enough that I would say I'd be able to call this out if I didn't have an authentic box right here. The markings look identical. The rep might just be a little bit more reflective, but again, how would you know that without having the authentic box right next to it? Opening up the inside, the thank you portion is exactly the same. And I think everybody can see that. And other than that, the papers look exactly the same as well. I can't even really say that there's a difference in the text. They both have the green mold preventative stickers here. I have the authentic one right here and the replica one right here. So more or less, these boxes are identical outside of one, the rep is showing its age a little bit, and the size tag and the gold rings. Other than that, these boxes are identical. So if you're smart, you're paying attention to these two things, and you should be good to identify it based on the box. But if you're in a situation you might not know, but the scammer swapped out the replica box for an authentic one, I'm personally going to say I don't think there's anything you can do on your own to be able to establish whether or not the pair that you have is authentic. But with all that said, let's get rid of the box and let's actually get into the shoes. And honestly, I don't think there's going to be much to talk about because I cannot tell them apart. So there we have it. We have my authentic pair here on the left. Keep in mind that the way that I'm telling these apart currently is that I lace these all the way up to the top because I cannot tell them apart. All of my usual things that I like to look at when it comes to sneakers in general just fall completely short here. And I really can't find anything to hold on to. Let's just start by looking at them side by side. The materials are identical, 100% identical. They're using the same kind of padding. The leathers feel the same quality, which is a soft, tumbled, textured leather, and they are the same. There's nothing different that I can see about them. When I look at the Jumpman Jordan tags here, obviously an old school trick used to be that it would be on the third spacing. Reps started getting that right 10, 12 years ago. So 1, 2, 3, it's in the right spot. 1, 2, 3, it's in the right spot. Looking at the Jumpman and the embroidery, they look identical. I don't see a color difference. I don't see a style difference. I don't see a size difference. They look identical. Going down to the overall shape over here, the toe boxes look exactly the same. And I'll say this, even if they didn't look the same, I couldn't even use that as a point of contention because these were made at many different factories. My particular retail pair was made at an L&M factory, and the reps are saying that they were made at L&M too. Obviously, just because the reps say that they were made at the same factory doesn't mean they were actually made at the same factory, but that's the size tag that they chose to replicate. So if that's what you're going on, you can't really do that. But they've got the widow's peaks here, or what they call the die cut marks. This is just an indicator that the leather, patent leather, is stamped out of a larger roll of material and not cut, and that's just where the die cut mark is. But that top down angle right here tells you these are so fucking close. The only real thing that I think I can see is there's a slight difference in the shape here of the sock liner, but I had these tied up a little bit tighter because I laced them through the top loop, so that might be different. I think one thing that I can look at that might be a craftsmanship thing as opposed to a authentication thing though, is that look at how this loop overlaps and it stops, and it's noticeable here, the bottom part of this strap. Here's a closer look at what I mean. You can see here that this strap kind of flows all the way over here, creates the loop, and they secure it behind the main body of the strap. You can see that the back half of this strap blends in seamlessly and looks good and it's finished well. So maybe that's something that we can pay attention to. And let's just see if that's going to be the case throughout the entire rep. I can see it again here. You can see where that strap kind of ends right there. And it's kind of the same throughout. And it definitely gets progressively better as you go down here. But these top two definitely show, but it definitely looks a lot better on the other side too. So maybe that's not the case, but the authentic pairs seem to just blend seamlessly. Maybe that's just a craftsmanship thing that the authentics do a little bit better or more consistent. But from there, guys, I'm telling you, I cannot tell the difference. One of the things that I pointed out in my original reference video that I released before these even came out was that I pointed to color being something that you'd be able to point to, specifically the gold of the Jumpman and the gold of the back heel tab. So when I do that and I put it right next to the rep, I'm not seeing a color difference. The light from different angles, it hits it differently. On this side, it kind of looks a little bit more yellow gold. And this is the authentic pair. While on this side, it looks like a champagne gold, and it's the same thing, but they are the same exact gold. They're even textured in the same exact way. If you look at it, when you look at the back tabs where the 23s are, they feel identical. They're the same color, same consistency. The shoes are even the same damn height, maybe a little bit taller going to the rep, but I would have to bow out, guys. I cannot legit check these at all. Taking a look at the back tongue tag here, these tongue tags look exactly the same. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't really know how much more I can walk around the shoe just to point out what they look like and see if we can find anything different. Taking a look at the soles, maybe we can find something in the soles, but nothing. Not only are these soles notoriously inconsistent, there are yellower soles and there are cloudier, whiter soles, and these just happen to be cloudier, whiter soles. The authentic pair on the left and the rep on the right. Carbon fiber is exactly the same. We are in trouble, guys. I guess one thing that I can look at and be a little bit proactive about is that I can take out the insole and see if there's any difference there. So we have the authentic insole on the left and the rep insole on the right. One thing that I do see, there's two things that I see actually. One, obviously the rep is definitely crooked. It's stamped in there crookedly. And two, there's a vibrance difference in between the reflective paint of the stamp on the authentic insole versus the rep. That's one aspect of the gold that I can see for sure. They feel similar, but they do feel different. There's like a texture to the rep that the authentic doesn't have. We'll take a look at the back here. Definitely differences here in how the text is stamped. Let's turn them over. And the whites are different as well, but they feel very, very similar. Definitely have a difference here. The text is larger on the authentic, and look at the trademark R. It's just floating over here somewhere while it's right underneath the text on the authentic. So we do have some differences there. You'll have to go into the insole to find them, but it is a difference nonetheless. Our last line of defense is a blacklight test, so let me turn off all of my lights and see if we can see a difference between the two. So what we're looking for is what reacts. We're seeing reaction on the stitching in the authentic pair, seeing some reaction out of the outsole for sure. The laces glow. The lettering on the tag glow, nothing really glowing on the inside. On the tongue tag here, nothing on the back. And we expect the same here on the other pair, on the other shoe. Nothing crazy. So let's take on the rep and let's see what glows. First thing we're gonna look for is the stitching. And the stitching glows brightly, as do the laces, as does the tongue tag. We go to the inside tongue tag, we get a lot of brightness as well. And the outsole glows just like the authentic pair. So unfortunately, we're not doing anything with this blacklight test either. Nothing stands out on the rep that stands out on that doesn't stand out on the authentic as well. So after the blacklight test, there is still really nothing conclusive to find on these shoes. You look at the height of the patent leathers, which can vary from retail pair to retail pair as well, but they are very similarly cut. You look at the shape They are very, very, very similar. I don't see anything that stands out here. So unfortunately, guys, that's it. Like I said, guys, please stay away. So with all that said, guys, I will see you in the next one. Peace.